Before any of this was even on my radar, Carly Buck, my coach at Limestone, mentored me and now is a wonderful friend, shared a phrase with me that she has always used. When life gives us coconuts, we're going to make lemonade anyways. Ever since then, whenever life has decided to toss something the complete opposite of lemon-like my way, we use that phrase. Last summer, I'd been offered and accepted the head coaching position at Converse College, and so much had happened to me since then. The IWLCA Capital Cup was approaching, and the support I got from the other coaches I knew and been coached by was nothing short of amazing and much needed in a time of tons of anxiety and fear of what was to come. I was nervous about my first head coaching job and really had no idea what I was getting myself into. I guess what I'm trying to say is I was freaking out and felt like a chicken with his head cut off. I cried all kinds of tears leading up to my first real recruiting tournament because I'd finally realized that the fear of the unknown is a real thing. However, I'm super thankful for other coaches that are human like me, and though there is some friendly competition, for the most part they just want to help and see you succeed. Little did I know that all of this was preparing me for the biggest game days and battle of my life. It's crazy how my story starts with bending down to take a picture with my new coaching friends after dinner and progresses to sitting in my oncologist's office being told the most life-changing 3 words: you have cancer. Being an athlete is the best thing that could have happened to me growing up. It taught me leadership, mental toughness, hard work, responsibility, integrity, and so many more life lessons. Choosing, and I use that term loosely, to play lacrosse, specifically the position of goalie, has made me the person I am and helped me handle and get through my diagnosis in ways I didn't think possible. I chose to play lacrosse goalie my junior year in high school after my homeroom teacher, who happened to be the lacrosse coach, mentioned it once or 500 times during my freshman and sophomore years. Something about just having a complete spinal fusion and possibly getting pelted with lacrosse balls just made the decision that so much more appealing. Plus, they really needed a JV goalie, and I didn't quite have enough activities to do, so I thought I would give it a try. With all that said, I got the equipment, laced up my cleats, and gave it a go. I didn't die the first day of tryouts, and I didn't get kicked out of practice, so I guess the fit was right. Since that night, I've been hooked. Goalie has been one of the most trying positions. I have no idea what I was thinking when I agreed to try out in high school, or when I signed a letter of intent to play nationally ranked Division II school, but something about the sport keeps you wanting to play more. Lacrosse is my passion, and the game has given me so much, and I hope one day I can give back to the lacrosse community just a little bit of what it's given me. I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma non-metastasized of my left femur right behind my knee on Thursday, August 25th, 2016. The words "you have cancer" struck me hard and made me automatically numb. I remember everything about that day, kind of like a goalie remembers every single detail about the goals they let in. The appointment was at 4:30, and I didn't get into a room until about 6. The walls were all white, no pictures hung, no place to read an exterior MRI, just 2 chairs, an examination table, and a desk with a Bible. Nothing really prepares you for those 3 words, and I pray you never have to receive them. But if you do, I'm here to hopefully shed some light on the battle and help you see the positives in a sucky situation. Dr. Kanan, the orthopedic surgeon who took the MRI, has seen only one other case similar to mine. My dad passed away from pancreatic cancer in 2013, so as soon as I got the news, I knew I wanted to go home and be treated in Georgia with my mom, even though my team and my friends were still in South Carolina. Dr. Kanan got me an appointment at Emory with Dr. Reimer, my orthopedic oncologist surgeon, who saw me bright and early the following Monday morning. After taking a biopsy and confirming what we already knew, I finally met with my oncologist, Dr. Reed. We set up a plan that included 3 weeks of fertility treatments and egg removal, port placement surgery, and the start of chemo. My chemo regimen would consist of 15 cycles of chemo, 3 weeks in a row, then 2 weeks off. After chemo was done, we would talk about surgically removing the tumor. I always looked at chemo like I did gasser testing in college. A gasser is a 55-yard sprint down the field and a 55-yard sprint back. A suicide. That's all fine and dandy, but our test was made up of 20 of those, all in 19 seconds. Now these days, when I'm recruiting, I'm looking for a fairly active and athletic goalie. But for those who know me, know that even though I thought I was pretty athletic, I practically had a table in the athletic training room named after me. 55 yards down and back in 19 seconds, 20 times in a row is no easy feat. Honestly, I picked the goalie position for a reason. Running has never been my favorite part. Anyways, when the day came, you ran them and survived. That's how chemo weeks go. I dread them leading up to the week. Going through it sucks and causes all kind of nasty symptoms, at least for me. And then when it's all said and done, you look back and realize you survived. It's hard, but you realize it was just something you needed to do. Even when you think it should, life has a funny way of not working out exactly how you planned it. I only got through 6 cycles of chemo. I got super sick with extended chemo symptoms and ended up in the hospital every time I was in between treatments. The hospital ended up being my second home. I spent a total of 2 months there from October through December. Not fun at all. I'd be lying if I said I was happy daily, but my support has been incredible, just like when I was in goal. I could count on my defensive middies to support me and get open on a clear. It is comforting knowing that even though I'm tackling a monster, I do not have to do it alone. Coach Buck always tells me either you run the day or the day runs you. I've chosen to run the day several times throughout this journey and will continue to do so. On January 12, 2017, I had left distal femur resection with endoprosthesis and total knee replacement, which is just a fancy name for limb salvage surgery. This involves replacing half of my femur and the top of my tibia with metal. Kind of cool, along with my spinal fusion I got in 8th grade, it's safe to say that I am now the new bionic woman. The last few months have had their challenges. I went from a wheelchair to a walker, from an always bent knee to learning how to reuse my leg. They had me walking 13 hours after surgery. I was released from the hospital 2 days later and was coaching 3 weeks following that. I'm now entering 2 months post-op, and I'm walking without anything and coaching as I will. I don't know if it's my stubbornness or persistence, but I'm well on my way to normalcy. I'm sure other sick people would agree. I just want to be normal. Throughout this process, I've had to constantly remind myself to run the day. After they removed the tumor, my oncologist was hoping that the pathology results would show that cancer was gone. Unfortunately, the tumor was made up of 60% active and living cells. This means that as much as I dread it, I have more chemo ahead of me. On February 16th, I went back to my oncologist, and as always, I get nervous before appointments or chemo days. It's kind of like on game days. I wake up jittery and just wanting to get going, and this morning was no different. I wish I could share that the meeting was all good and I left confident of my future. Unfortunately, that's not exactly how it happened. He confirmed that more chemo was in fact happening. I have about 9 more rounds left. He also reviewed my CT scan from earlier in the week and said that a small spot showed up on my lungs. Because it is small, they are unclear if it's really cancer or just a smudge that shows up sometimes. So the next step is to continue the chemo schedule and get another scan in 2 months. If the smudge shows up on the scan, then we will discuss removal. For now, I focus on kicking cancer and chemo's ass. I started back up on February 20th, and who knows when the journey will end. But we are on our way to the ultimate victory of being cancer-free. I like to refer to it as my Cancer National Championship, the game in which Team Mego gets the big W. But for now, I rock the bald head, enjoy eating whatever I want, and gather the small pieces of whatever life is going to throw at me, because as you all can probably guess, we're making a big batch of damn good lemonade here. I hope you guys got something out of that. I was honored when Coach Tay asked me to tell you guys my story. Just know that when you're given sucky situations, you rise from them and you take whatever you're given and you let it make you better. Good luck today. Go Gophers. And I'm just going to leave you with a little poem that Coach Tay and I used to say in college. Really listen to the words and remember that this is the beginning of a new day. Go Gophers.
1, 2, 3.
This is the beginning of a new day. We've been given this day to do as we will. We can waste it or use it for good. What we do today is important to change our lives for it. When tomorrow comes, today will be gone forever. Leaving its place only when traded. So we gain not loss, good, not bad, success, not failure. And we will not regret the price paid for it.